What we'll do is we'll start off by just having you each introduce yourselves. So you can say your name, where you're from, what you're studying, and just maybe tell a little bit about why you decided to study at the University of Kansas. Jen, if you can.
My name is Chen Zhao. I'm a senior at KU and my major is accounting. Also, I have a supply chain management concentration. I'm originally from Beijing, China, and well, something I really like about KU is really care about our international students and help us to grow here, and that's pretty good.
Great, thanks.
Okay. My name's Yujie, Deng Yujie, and my English name is James. I'm computer science and math double major, and I was a junior student and transfer student too. So that the reason why I chose KU because we can KU give me a unique experience. On one side, I can watch the KU basketball games and Kansas, KU actually ranked 10 now if you watch NCAA. And on the other hand, it gave me a superb academic opportunities. I'm in honor program and I'm currently doing undergraduate research. It gave me a brief outline how the life after I graduate will be. That's a great experience.
Great. Now, what are your academic classes like? I know that, especially from maybe freshman year or even transferring in, what that adjustment was like and how they've changed as you've kind of progressed into your upper level classes.
Okay, so generally, the classes with number 100 and 200 are generally the large classes with maybe 200 or more students in the classroom, but the upper level classes are generally the small classes, so the professor can pay more attention on each individual students. And because the class is step by step, so you have a very solid foundation there, so it's not a very difficult thing to transit from a lower level classes to the higher level classes.
For me, like upper level class is pretty hard. I mean, for as a math major, I have to finish one sequence of the graduate level course, which is challenging. But the low level courses is great and it's for everyone.
Great. Now, as far as your classes go, how do you handle the studying for those classes? So how much time do you think you spend per day or per week studying for your classes?
Because I am a business major, so maybe I don't need to put too much time outside the classroom to study. And it really depends on your major. Like, I'm a accounting major, so maybe I need to input more time rather than other business majors, but it really depends. And if you pay more attention during the classroom, then you're getting better and the study will be easier.
I mean, for me, I on average I study like 2 or 3 hours per day, but I actually have a whole lot of time to do other things, like go to the rec center to work out and play some basketball, or watch the basketball game, or volunteer job. So it just depends how you schedule your life.
Great. Now, with the classes themselves that you've taken, and I know you're in different majors, they'll be a little bit different, but what is the style of those classes like, and were they different from what you were used to in high school?
For me, because I'm involved in two different areas in business, so I feel like it's different because in accounting, it's more based on the textbook and you follow step by step and do some project to help you understanding the materials and concepts there. But for the supply chain management part, the professor focused more on the real life business. So you have more opportunities to connect with those companies and you will have the opportunity to do some project with the company to help you understand how the real supply chain works and how you can do to help their company to improve their business. So that's a great thing, and like put your knowledge into practice. It's really valuable.
Yeah, I'm a transfer student, so I take college course from Chinese University and KU. And I think in KU you have to focus more on your academic part because in KU you have to get A's where it's very difficult. And um, I also let me rephrase that. It's not difficult, but you have to put on a lot of works. And on the other hand, I do undergrad research, so it's great experience. You can connect with the professor to to launch a project you like, and that's why I love KU because it inspires your interest.
Great. Now you both talked about things that you do outside of class. So one kind of category of that I'm curious about is if either of you have been engaged in any academic enrichment opportunities, like if you've taken advantage of the libraries or tutoring, or if you've done any internships or research or things like that. So have either of you been involved with those or knows friends who have?
I don't involve too much on this part.
That's okay.
Okay, there's a whole lot of resources if you really look into it. There is a KU writing center for English. There is a KU Abstract program for math, and there is a career center for career planning, and there is a AAAC for advising any. If you have any problem about courses, you can go to AAAC, and there's an honor program for like straight student, and there's undergrad research program. You can like doing project you want. It is not necessary to relate to your major. Is anything you want, you can talk to your professor. That's
Cool. Now, as far as you mentioned the academic advising, how has that worked for you with selecting your classes? Could you maybe explain how that process works here at KU for taking classes or for getting help with trying to decide what classes to take?
Okay, the first step for a freshman is to see the university's advisors. But after you get into a professional school, then you will have your own advisors from your professional school. So they can help you to plan the classes for each of your semester and how and when can you graduate. So that's a great resources for all the students. I didn't have the opportunity to see the university advisors because I was admitted to the business school directly. But I know that advisors in business school they know a lot and they both all of them are trying best to help you to like achieve your goals, like graduate soon or like help you to solve your problems. Because I always had some problems on my degree process report because I transferred to KU and I transferred some of my credits from other colleges. So I always have some problems there, but all of them are really willing to help you to solve that problem. So that's great.
yeah. Advising is a great part of in college. If you have any concern about your graduation, you can go find an advisor. They will tell you the answer and best schedule for your graduation.
Very great. Now, you also mentioned, finding that balance between both academics and doing things outside of class, so like basketball, like the recreation center. Could you talk a little bit more about some of those types of opportunities at KU or some of the things that you enjoy doing when you're not in class?
Okay, so first of all, we have a whole lot of different on-campus organizations. and different programs, especially for the international student. The international program has one activity called Global Partner, which is really great for international students to connect with the local American students. And also we have like student organizations for different students from different countries. Like Chinese students have the Chinese Students and Scholars Friendship Association, and like students from other countries, they also have their own organizations. So you have a lot of interesting activities throughout the semester. And I'll let Yujie to talk about the rec center part.
There's a rec center. You can play all kind of sports and meet new friends. And there's volunteer job. There's alternative break. You can go outside, travel, and do volunteer at the same time. And there is a internship you can find if you want to have a job experience. Definitely go to a career fair. There's a whole lot of resources if you really look into it.
Great. So as far as the Lawrence itself, so living in Lawrence and kind of going to school here, most people haven't heard of Lawrence who aren't from Kansas or even then. So maybe if you could just talk about what it's like to live in Lawrence and kind of what type of town it is.
It's a small town, and basically it's a college town. So, but since it's a small town, so it's safe rather than the huge cities. But although it's a small town, we have Kansas City near us, so it only takes around 40 minutes drive from here Lawrence to Kansas City. So you will have all kinds of entertainment activities there. You can go shopping, you can to have fun there. We have different kinds of restaurants. So Lawrence, it's a great place because you can really focus on your study here when you during the week, and then during the weekend you can go to Kansas City for fun.
Yeah, Lawrence is cozy town. There's a whole lot of nice people. You can talk to your bartender if you want, and there's a lot of good restaurant, and even library is great. There are a whole lot of resources for you all to read, and I love Lawrence.
Good. What was your biggest adjustment with coming here? What was the biggest kind of challenge or culture shock thing that you experienced when you started at KU or moved to Lawrence?
Can't remember because it's a long
It's been a while, yeah.
There's a whole lot of culture shock and like the style of your study and how you prepare for your study or how you plan your life. In China, workout is not that common. Play basketball is definitely a great activity in China, but it's not mandatory in America. A whole lot of people like mandatory to work out, and there's a different opinion how you. I enjoy a lot of diversity of KU. You can see one problem in different perspective. That is new, and I think it's crucial for young people like us to learn.
Very nice. So how, you sort of already answered it, but how did you kind of get past that initial culture shock? Was it difficult to meet people and make friends, or how did you kind of find your community here at KU?
I think the Global Partner program I just mentioned is a really great opportunity to meet friends because it is a program that match the international students with American students together in a group, and then the group can get together a couple of times during the semester and maybe to do some community services together. So that can be your first step to meet some local students and then learn the local culture and
For me, because I live on campus, so I take advantage of my residential hall. I mean, I study in the lobby, meet different people, and like go to rec or study in the library with them. That's a great way to make friends. And once you have a lot of interaction with your American roommate, it'll definitely will cut down the culture shock.
Very nice. Now, speaking of housing, that was a great transition. Could you both talk about your different housing experiences you've had at KU, maybe some of the different options that you know are available to students?
So I live off campus. So around the campus, there are a lot of choices, a lot of apartment choices. I live in Meadowbrook, which is a apartment really close to the university campus, and it only takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes walk from my home to the campus. So there's of course there's a bus past my apartment, but if by chance you miss the bus, you can definitely walk to the campus. And also we have a lot of like I mean maybe better apartments, but it's far a little bit far from the campus. So it may take like 15 to 20 minutes drive from those apartments to the campus. And also for those apartments, you sometimes they have furnished and unfurnished. So if you come here as a freshman, you can choose the unfurnished one because buying those furnitures are expensive here. So if you can use it for more than like 3 or 4 years, then it worth. But if you just transfer here and then only left maybe 2 years, then I would suggest to choose those furnished apartments. So then you don't need to spend a lot of money on the furnitures, and then you need to worry about how to sell them to other people.
I live in different residential hall in KU, and I actually work for KU Housing, so I know a lot about KU Housing. There's different on-campus choice. You have a different community you can choose. There's a scholarship hall, community. That's the first one as first the community I live is great. People live in the apartment, and we have a great relationship with each other. And there's a residential hall. Residential hall is more traditional. It's like 2 personal room or 4 personal suite. And there's Jahal Tower's apartment. And in Jahal Tower, you got a kitchen and individual bathroom. And there's a fraternity or sorority you can choose on. It's for people who like to work with each other.
So I think if you have the opportunity, you can choose the Scholar Hall because I really like there because first of all, it's cheaper to live there than other residential halls because you have to like do shift there. Like maybe you need to cook the dinner for maybe the whole building, the people living in the whole building and then others also need to do this kind of things. So then you have food, and then you maybe do some cleaning things. So everyone work together to keep this living environment good. And it is also a good opportunity to meet people because I know the KK and Margaret Mini Hall, and then like there are a lot of people living in the whole building, and like people eat together, so you can meet more people than you thought. So that's a great opportunity if you can choose to live in a scholarship hall.
Great. Now, you mentioned briefly the bus that can take you around campus. Could you maybe talk about that a little bit more as far as how that bus works and that it's connected, to get you around where you need to go?
Okay, so we have bus 41, 42, and 43 pass the places on campus. And then other bus also pass through the university, but it also bring you to the off-campus places like your apartment or the supermarkets. So it's pretty convenient. Like even if you don't have a car, like live at my apartment can take bus to like 3 different supermarkets. So the traffic is not a problem actually. And then we have the bus schedule. It's different from China, and the bus normally will get to the bus stop on time. So you don't need to worry too much on it.
And is it expensive?
No, it's free for all the KU students.
Yeah, that's a great benefit.
Great. Another thing about kind of Lawrence that I wanted you to touch on was the weather and what that's been like and adjusting to the different changes in weather that we have here, because it's more diverse than a lot of places as far as like yesterday where we have extreme changes in weather. So we'll be talking about what the weather is like here and kind of how you've kind of learned to prepare for the differences in climate.
Okay, it's heat in the summer, but really, really cold in winter. But it's pretty much like Beijing's weather, so I get used to it. It's like, well, if you ask my suggest, I will suggest that don't take any summer classes here because it's really, really heat. But in the winter, we have a lot of snows. So for those students from the south part of Asia, it may be a hard time for you. So.
But it's better to be aware, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, but I actually enjoy the weather of Lawrence because the sky is clean and the air is fresh, and even it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter, you still have air conditioner to adjust the temperature. So don't worry too much about the weather.
Great. Another common question we get asked sometimes is about food and kind of adjusting to different food that's here, both on campus and whether or not you're able to get different food that you might be used to from back home. So could either of you kind of speak to that transition or those experiences you've had?
Okay, so on campus we have those KU dinings, so you can have food if you don't want to go home to have your own food. And generally it's American style, like sandwiches and burritos, sometimes the pizzas and sandwich. But we also have the Indian food on campus. And there's a Panda Express just opened, I think, the beginning of this semester at Kansas Union. So although it's kind of American style Chinese food, but it's great to have it on campus. So you can have different types of food on campus, and off campus you have more choices. Like we have Thai food, we have Chinese food, we have great Korean restaurant at Lawrence, and Japanese food, Indian, Mexico, and of course the traditional American food.
I mean, food is the biggest challenge for me to coming to America. I mean, because in the first semester I live in school hall, I have eat the American food for every day. So there's no alternative choice, and it's hard in the beginning because of the difficult transaction. But once you get used to it, you can actually enjoy it.
Great. Now, talking about kind of KU and some of the things that make it a little bit different than some other universities, Are there any specific traditions or places on campus or things that you like to do here that are kind of special to you and to your memories as a student?
I mean basketball,
Rock
but
check chain.
yeah.
Rock check.
And that's on YouTube, so I'm sure
Yeah.
people could, look
Yeah.
and other social media sites as well where they could look that up and see.
And there's traditional night, I think. Traditional night and
The late night in the fall.
late night. And
So describe what that's like. So what is the late night in the fog for
That's
people who don't know?
crazy. It's at the beginning of the basketball season. Like it's a fun event and it's free for all people. So it's kind of like a show, and then you basketball team and other athletes are introduced to all the KU students. And I've been to the late night in the fog the year before last year, and it takes me maybe 1 hour or 2 hours waiting in the line. But I know last semester it takes longer time, and then a lot of people can't get into it because it's really hot and it's really famous. So people from the Kansas City area coming to KU and want to go inside to the Allen Fieldhouse and join that event.
yeah, that's a really unique experience. And I feel a sense of community because of tradition. And it makes me feel proud to be a Jayhawk.
Great. Now, are there any things like frequently asked questions and things like, or your friends back home, for example, that you get asked about KU or about studying in the U.S. and whatever that question is, what is your answer to that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe family or maybe just people who aren't as familiar with.
Most of my classmates concerned about because when in China the lecture will be Chinese, but in America it will be totally English and no one will understand Chinese. So they are concerned if they will do great in KU academically. But my answer will be if your English grade is not great, you can go to a Apply English Center. They will help you. If you have any other concern about academic part, you can always go to advisor, maybe cut down some workload, or go to a help room or office hour more often. That will definitely help you, and don't worry too much about it.
Yeah, so we have lots of resources, like he said, the academic questions, you can go to the advisors, and then if you have any concerns or problems on your immigration status, or like if you want to travel outside the United States but you don't know if any documents needed, you can go to the International Student Services, and then the advisor there will help you choose all kinds of questions related to your immigration status. So like everyone's so nice here and trying their best to help you.
Great. Now, as far as that reminded me of traveling. So, since you've been here at KU or studying in the U.S., have you had an opportunity to see any other parts of this region or the country in general? Have you gotten a chance to travel to any other cities beyond Lawrence and Kansas City?
Yes, of course. I'm kind of like the national parks and the nature rather than the huge cities. So I really like the road trip. Like I've been to Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton by driving from Lawrence and then take a loop to the Montana and Wyoming there, and then back to Lawrence. So it's
a long drive.
Yeah, it's a long drive. It takes around 2 weeks. And the other one is from Lawrence to the Rocky Mountain area in the Colorado, and then to the Utah's national parks like the Arches, and then to the Grand Canyon at Arizona. So it's another long drive, but it's really fun if you like this kind of road trip in those national parks, because camping is not quite familiar for me back in China, but after I came here, I really love camping because we have um, the amenities there, so you can showering at a campground, you can barbecue there, and then you can go hiking, you can um, do everything you want there, and you can meet lots of animals that maybe you don't have opportunity to meet back in your country. Like in Yellowstone National Park, you can meet a lot of bears there, and it's called the country of bear. So something fun there is if you are not at your campsite, you need to put all the food in your car or somewhere to lock it, or you can, or maybe some bear will come and eat your food. So that's really interesting, but a little bit dangerous.
Did you see any bears when you were there?
Yeah, a lot
Wow,
of bears.
that's
Like
cool.
they have a lot of like deers and buffaloes and bears in Yellowstone. But if you drive on the way and then you saw a whole lot of people stand there and watch something, then it might be the bear rather than like the buffalo or other animal, because buffaloes are too general to the people there.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of bears.
What a cool trip.
Yeah.
Because I'm freshman and transfer student, so never really have a chance to go outside. But I do go to Kansas City, and Kansas City is great. And so they have all of the resources, and I mean, you can enjoy the trip.
Great. Now, as far another one that's a common question that we get is related to finances. So, how have you learned to kind of manage your finances, and have there been any things that are unexpected with finances that you would encourage students to be prepared for? I know, like with books, for example. I may be talking about your experiences with that.
Okay, so textbooks are really expensive here. And if you want to buy a new textbook, it generally take maybe $100 or $200. It's like totally different from China, because in China, textbook is really cheap. So you don't need to like put too much budget on the textbooks. But here it's different. It's very expensive. So a choice is you can buy this like the used book from the KU bookstore, but KU is a really open university, so you don't have to buy your book here. You can search those used books online, like at Amazon or eBay's website. So it would be a good choice to get cheaper textbooks. And after you finish this semester, if the textbook is still used by the professor, you can resell it to other students, so people can use it, and you can get part of the money back.
And there's a digital edition if you want to save your money, and you can even borrow a book from bookstore. For me, actually, if I have a really tight budget, I probably will borrow a book from professor. Some professor are really nice; they're willing to borrow their additional book too. So there's always a way to figure it out.
Great.
Yeah, and the digital versions are really great because you don't have to take your you don't have to carry those books every day. So like every books are in your iPad, or it's just online. You can log into your account and read the book everywhere you want, because we have the computer everywhere on campus.
Great. And as far as just the rest of finances and budgeting, were there any other things, any other advice you have kind of about that, just in general, like learning to manage your budget?
Okay, so we have a lot of scholarships here at KU, so you can log on to the website and check if there are any scholarships that you are eligible, and you can apply for it. and also you can work on campus because international students are not allowed to work off campus. So you can find some jobs, maybe like KU dining or KU housing or somewhere on campus, or maybe you can, if you're good at some classes, you can be a tutor or a teaching assistant. So that's a great way to get some money.
Actually, I received a QIE scholarship um, for for tuition. So can you get me my tuition fee waiver? That will save you a whole lot of money if you really look into the opportunity you have and apply to those scholarship. Maybe you can get one.
Great. Now, do either of you have any advice on the admission process? Maybe challenges you face that your friends have faced that you learned through that experience and could just give advice to students who are thinking about applying about what to expect.
I would suggest just check the website because there are a list of what kind of documents are required. So I would suggest to send all the documents in one envelope and pay just the shipping fees once and get all your documents here because the international shipping is really expensive, so you don't want to spend too much money on it. So just get everything together and then send it to here. And if you have any question, you can just call and then people will help you to figure out.
For my advice, I mean, it gotta prepare first to prepare your application well and submit your application as early as you possible because once you submit your application early, you can have more opportunity than those who didn't.
Great. And then the final general question I had for you guys was just any general advice that you have to students, whether it's coming to KU or just studying in the US. You can either do this in English or your native language, whatever you prefer, just kind of your final parting advice for our lovely viewers today.
Just take it easy because it's not as terrible as we thought in a foreign country. And I mean, get involved on campus because we have a lot of opportunities here.
Study abroad is definitely not bad. It's definitely a great thing, and if you have a well-funded budget and you have a willing to learn new things, enjoy the diversity, definitely go to US. Definitely go to KU. You will become just like a school things, and you will enjoy the new life here. It will be a life-changing event, maybe.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. But before we do switch back over, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you about or that you have questions for each other before we switch?
I want to talk about the study abroad programs at KU.
Great. Yeah.
That's a really great program. So you are an international student, and then you have the opportunity to come to KU, and then if you like travel or like some other cultures, you can apply for a study abroad, and then you can go to other countries. So we have all kinds of programs like the short term, maybe 10 days, and the long term, maybe for 1 year. So you can, maybe you want to learn some language, so you can apply for a 1 year program to go to maybe Europe or somewhere else to learn a new language. And if you just specifically want to learn something related to your major, or you just want to go there, you can apply for a short term. Like I went to Panama last summer, and that's really great. It's related to supply chain management, and I learned a lot from there because it's a faculty-led program. So you can learn knowledge as well as visit those ports, those free trade zones and warehouses. And also one thing great is, like, as a Chinese people, by myself, I would never have the opportunity to go to Panama. But with this program, I can go there, and I don't need to prepare. I don't need to worry too much on the immigration thing. So that's great. And I know during this winter break, there's a program to went to Israel, and that's another place that like generally people will not have opportunity to visit. So it's really great. And if you want to go and if you have opportunity, you can definitely try it.
Great, thank you. Any other topics that, no? Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much for your time. What we're gonna do now is we'll pause the screen again, we'll switch places, and then I'll just kind of wrap up with a few different points about the process. So thank you both.